Jude Bellingham allegedly confronted Thomas Tuchel inside the England dressing room at Estadio Azteca, accusing the manager of tactical bias linked to Harry Kane's sponsorship deals. This wasn't just some disagreement. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't the press blowing things out of proportion. This is serious. Nothing like this has ever been seen days before the start of a World Cup. And there's a detail the FA still hasn't confirmed publicly. A member of the coaching staff allegedly filmed part of the tactical briefing on a tablet. And sources suggest the footage captured the initial exchange. And the worst still hasn't come out. Over the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly what happened and why this turns England's World Cup upside down. When this happens 2 days before a World Cup opener, it's not just any problem. This is about the starting lineup, the captain's authority, and whether Thomas Tuchel can hold the dressing room together at the Azteca. And behind the scenes, it's worse than it looks. It all started on June 9th, around 6:15 in the evening, immediately after the tactical briefing concluded. Bellingham reportedly stood near the treatment table at Estadio Azteca, gesturing toward the tactics board still displaying the 4-2-3-1 formation. Sources close to the squad insist Bellingham said the setup feels like it's built backwards from one name and allegedly referenced the same brands on both contracts. Tuchel reportedly went silent for several seconds, then asked Bellingham to step into the corridor. Harry Kane, seated near his locker, allegedly looked down at his boots and said nothing. Declan Rice reportedly placed a hand on Bellingham's shoulder but was waved off. The atmosphere shifted from focused to tense in seconds. Kobbie Mainoo and Noni Madueke glanced at each other nervously. The meeting disbanded without resolution. Tuchel allegedly spent the following hour in private conversation with FA officials. But to understand why this matters, you need to know what came before. Bellingham had reportedly grown frustrated during the qualification campaign, where tactical adjustments often centered on Kane's positioning despite inconsistent link-up play. Kobbie Mainoo, who impressed in training sessions, was reportedly left on the bench for 3 consecutive qualifiers without clear explanation. Meanwhile, Kane's central role remained untouchable despite quiet concerns from Bukayo Saka and Anthony Gordon about limited service. The tension allegedly intensified when Tuchel's agent was photographed at the same sponsor event as Kane's representatives in April, fueling private speculation within the squad about aligned commercial interests. Here's where things become even more complicated. On one side, Bellingham's camp believes England's best chance lies in tactical flexibility, empowering Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Kobbie Mainoo to dictate tempo without being locked into service roles for a single striker. They argue Kane's influence on formations risks predictability against high-pressing opponents like the United States. On the other, Tuchel's side insists Kane's record speaks for itself. More than 60 international goals, proven tournament experience, and the only English striker with consistent elite-level output. They view Bellingham's accusations as destabilizing and rooted in personal ambition. And hold on, because the most controversial detail I've saved for the end. The dressing room allegedly split quietly. Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka reportedly avoided public comment, but privately expressed concern about timing. Younger players like Kobbie Mainoo and Noni Madueke allegedly sided with Bellingham in private conversations, frustrated by limited opportunities. Harry Kane reportedly addressed the squad the following morning, calling for unity without directly engaging the accusations. Coaching staff allegedly closed ranks around Tuchel, describing the claims as baseless. The FA released no statement, but sources suggest internal discussions about whether to involve sports psychologists ahead of the opener. Fans on social media divided sharply, with some calling Bellingham a disruptor and others questioning why tactical decisions remain opaque. The English press seized on the timing, noting the confrontation occurred at the same venue where England famously lost to Diego Maradona in 1986. And the clock is ticking. Tuchel must finalize his starting 11 by June 10th, with FIFA rules allowing squad changes only in cases of injury before the first match. If Bellingham is benched, England risks losing midfield creativity against a high-energy United States side. If Kane's role is adjusted, the captain's confidence could waver in front of a sold-out Azteca crowd. Now Thomas Tuchel is caught between two bad decisions. If he benches Bellingham to assert authority, he risks alienating England's most dynamic midfielder and fracturing the dressing room at the worst possible moment. But if he accommodates Bellingham's demands by adjusting tactics or reducing Kane's centrality, he appears weak in front of the captain, validates the sponsorship accusations, and opens himself to accusations of pandering to player power. The controversy could deepen if England stumbles in the opener, with media scrutiny intensifying around Tuchel's decision-making and Bellingham's influence. Fresh reports suggest leaked audio from the confrontation allegedly exists but has not yet surfaced publicly, leaving the possibility of further revelations in the coming days. 2 days before the World Cup, England's dressing room is fractured over a claim that ties tactics to commercial interests. And look, this is far from over. This is the information circulating so far. Over the next few hours, new details should trickle out, and they could turn this whole story upside down. So for you, should Tuchel bench Bellingham to protect squad hierarchy? Or does ignoring the accusation prove England's tactics are compromised by off-field interests? Let us know in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss the next major development, subscribe now and turn on notifications, because when this fully breaks, you'll want to be the first to know, not the last.